One thing we can be assured of, that heaven and earth will pass away, right? But the words of the Most High forever. Of that one thing we can be sure of. This one thing we can be confident in, that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. And therefore, those who find a wife through their great actions and speaking well of them and training them up and loving them and helping to love them past themselves with them loving you past yourself, you shall find a great thing and obtain favor from the Most High. Is of those things of being sure that we wear wisdom around our neck, right? And to make sure that it's like a necklace and everywhere we go. These are things that are sure. And in all these things I'm happening. I'm sorry, did I hear what happened in New York? Over 30 med resign, hospital, not delivering no babies as a result? No, I did not hear that. I did not hear that at all. What's the reason why that happened? I don't even know. I guess I can see if I can find it somewhere. Trying to see if I can find it. Oh, never mind. It's not pulling it up. I'm glad they did resign rather than be forced to have to take something they don't want to. And it shows that doctors, right, unlike the gentleman that was on with us a few weeks ago, a month and a half ago, whenever it was telling us that all doctors, 99% of doctors agree that you need to take the shot. Obviously, that's not true. If a whole bunch of them said, you know what, we out. All right? And so it shows us that there's these things that they tell us that we're supposed to be sure of, the things they're telling us to be sure of, right? These are things that we have to recognize, and so that's why we're pulling on things. We're asking people to make sure that you are pulling from things that are sure, things that will not change tomorrow, and that means you have to become somebody who is sure and confident in self. As we were talking about this rising, that the original you is the you that you should be going out with. If that's your way, hello Aaron, you're welcome to be on here, and hello to you. And you're not my standard, nor is your standard of hair, especially someone that I don't know. So, somebody got you. You're already muted. However, you're welcome to stay on even being muted unless the person decides to block you. Oh, there you go. So be it. But these are the things that we have to be sure, right? Even something like that makes them talking about surety within self. Somebody comes on and say, hey, I don't like you being yourself. Like, who cares what somebody's hair is? And if my hair was what some people, I guess, assume it is, it's dirty or matted or whatever, it's my hair, it's my head. As long as I'm fine with it, my wife is fine with it. You said it's interesting that these medical professionals have worked this long during the pandemic. I do some stuff on the side talking about Joe Biden said that people might have to get tested and they'll let people know this and that or whatever. I don't even mind being tested as long as you ain't trying to stick me with nothing. For real, for real. If I had to get tested to do something, I wouldn't care because I'm healthy. But yeah, now they got to be vaccinated. But these are the things, like, we got to start holding on to sure things, right? Vaccinations, nobody's sure if vaccinations actually help at all, right? Or at least help enough to where you need to take them. But we know if you eat well, you'll be taken care of, right? That's something that's sure. You were assured of that, right? These are the items that we need to start looking at, things that are sure. What are the foods that you're eating? Are you eating seedless food? That's stuff that we aren't sure what the effects are. We know that some of them even cause cancer. We know it's not real, therefore it's not something that's great for your body, right? Why not eat real or sure food? The problem becomes, how can I be assured of food? And really all this stuff goes back to community, the Yaz Land Project 83 and things of that nature. Like, we have to have an environment where people can be in surety. any medicine given to you are trials. Because any medicine given to us is experimental. Because all of the doctors are practicing, right? So this is even when you go to a doctor, the doctor's not giving you anything he's sure about. Think about that. Like, think about the nerve even of people telling us to trust in doctors, and doctors are experimenting on you. They're practicing on you, and they're not sure what will happen. Who says the swabs you're being tested are not contaminated? I mean, that's true. If they give you a swab that's contaminated, though, if you're healthy, I ain't tripping. I'm telling you, when they stick the stuff up your nose, we talked about this before, when they stick those long Q-tips up your nose, saying that they're getting stuff out there, you know that if anybody around you said COVID, you could have smelled, or something, COVID was in the air or something that you're around, any of it can get in the back of your nostrils. It doesn't mean the disease affects you. I would just call this a chemise. I'm not exactly sure what this particular one is. It's actually a interesting combination of different things. But these are things that people aren't thinking about. Like, when you go to a doctor, the doctor's never sure what's going to happen to you because they practice. I mean, they do have a lot of facts and they do have some data, and so maybe they're more sure of certain things than others. But if a doctor gives you, forgive me, antibiotics, the doctor's not sure what's going to happen. I don't know if there's really a way to spell it. Chemise is okay. You can spell it Chamise. You can spell it the way people spell it in French. French got it from us as far as the word. Not sure, in all honesty. But there's a lot of different things that people are just not sure. When we have conversations when people have, what should we teach in school? People are freaking out because they're not sure what's going to happen. Can you imagine if people started teaching truths, and the truths allow people to realize that hate isn't something we should have? Somebody who controls people by hate, or whose life has been controlled by hate, is not going to be able to go to the same well to be able to draw from, right? Think about that. Right? Like, there's a lot of people, sometimes people think that people won't give up racism. Just like, a lot of people understand racism is wrong, but if you've been controlled by something your whole life, and you've been sure of something, and somebody introduces something to you, your emotional state that begins to break down and you start to lash out at people or things is because that you're unsure of what is going to happen on what you're sure. You said, wouldn't that be the way to get to go, yet they can't? You're right, but it's hard. Imagine how many people, like, when I look at somebody and I believe in the Bible and somebody else says, I look them dead in the face and they start telling me, well, God says, and I say, I don't believe in God. I believe in Elohim. And they look at me, you don't believe in God. I'm messing with people's emotion, right? Because your culture affects your beliefs, and your beliefs affect your emotion. So you've come from a culture or a culture that falsifies documentation of what people really are and changes and twists things. Somebody comes along and says, hey, I know you believe this, but this is actually within the culture that it came from. This is what actually happened. And people on you, right? All lives matter. That's a freak out. Right? Understand that if all lives matter, then Black Lives Matter, right? Now, I'm not into supporting the Black Lives Matter group, but I do agree that Black Lives Matter. I do agree that all lives matter. To say that all lives matter is literally saying that Black Lives Matter, right? But somebody gets upset and frustrated because somebody says, hey, well, if all lives matter, well, these people are in trouble right now. Look at them. And yet, people will freak out on you, right? Like, I heard somebody give a great example of it, and I'm not sure who the first person to use this example was, but somebody explained it like this a while ago. This had to be last year sometime, or maybe it was earlier this year, I don't know, but it was somebody who I guess follow on TikTok is the term you would use, and they were saying that basically, like, imagine there's a fire, there's a fire that breaks out in the neighborhood, right? And the firefighters show up, and they begin to try and rescue the family inside the house, and they begin to spray the house, and somebody says, hey, why are you spraying that house? And they say, well, we're trying to make sure that we save this family. Get back from the house. And the person says, hey, you need to stop that. Make sure that you come in my house and save us. The person says, why would we save you? Well, why are you saving them and not saving us? All houses matter. And the person says, but this house is the one that's on fire right now. Why would I worry about your house if you're okay? Right? But somebody wouldn't, but that's literally somebody who would be lost in that. They don't understand that's what you're doing. Right? But they're so emotionally invested. Their life has been invested in this rhetoric that anything that talks about a people, that we talk about indigenous people, we talk about Native Americans, so to speak, right? And we talk, well, really Native Americans is actually a real term. People don't like it, but they say indigenous, but America used to be defined as people who were black or copper colored from Turtle Island, right? However, Native Americans, we talk about Native Americans, they don't like that. We focus on black people, they don't like that. We focus on Chinese people, they don't like that. We focus. Struggle is the same, and not everybody is dealing with things the same. Right? So, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. I see you. So, like a lot of people, and I use his name, Yashua, not Jesus, when people freak out. Why? Because you have an emotional tie to that name. That's the reason why you have this emotional tie. Dog's barking again. I guess I'll close the door. You still hear him a little bit in the background, but people have an emotional tie. Right, like people really have an emotional tie to these items. They have an emotional tie to this stuff. And so people freak out when you're talking about all these things that are going on. Oh my goodness, what's going on this? What's going on with that, et cetera, et cetera. People are freaking out. Why? Because you would dare say that you're challenging something, right? If I tell somebody, hey, there's a difference between being a United States citizen and a United States of America, a citizen of the United States of America, a lot of people freak out. You're a liar, this, and that. I'm proud to be an American. Well, if you're part of the United States, you're not even an American. No, you don't understand. You've never served like I had. Yeah, I served. I served in the military. Well, you're a traitor to. I'm a traitor. Like the United States Corporation is a traitor to the United States of America. No, you don't understand, right? And like I can show you, I can try to show you as many different things. Yeah, it's closed-minded because I can try to show you as many different things as you want, but their emotions have closed them off because their emotions are invested in their beliefs, and their beliefs are invested in a culture that is a lie. And so in these times of surety is the best thing that you have, right? And here's the deal with surety. See, I don't think people grasp the concept, but there will be more people who want somebody to control them in their unsurety than people who want to be secure in themselves and being sure of who they are. And that's a huge thing to realize. However, it's the reality that there are a lot less people who are willing to be okay with being sure in their original selves, in laws and precepts and universal concepts. They'd rather be unsure. That's why a lot of people say, hey man, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Now I get it, religious can mean different things, but if you're talking about religion, then everybody has religion, right? But even if we get past that, okay, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, what that says is, look, I'm not really sure who's right, this and that, or whatever. I'm not really trying to study. I don't want to be held accountable to anything specific. That's what they're really telling you. Now they can say, oh no, that's because I'm above it and all this. No, you don't want to be disciplined. You want to be able to say that you believe, like you want to quote a Bible verse and then cuss somebody out. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to let's go to other religions. You want to talk about being something that you agree with Farrakhan, and something you agree with Elijah Muhammad, and something you agree with Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? And all this stuff. But then you want to go ahead and drink and not pray 5 times a day. Right? That's what it really is. Like people, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Okay, so you want to go by Eastern philosophy, but when somebody says, well, Eastern philosophy comes from this, you don't want to hear it. You say, you want to do what the Chinese people do, but when somebody says, well, you know, the Chinese people worship Shangdi, and Shangdi is basically their equivalent, or not even their equivalent, it's their, that'd be a great word, it's their equivalent of Yahweh. That's who they worshipped, right? Well, no, you want to say, well, I worship Baal, but Baal was a devil and something. No, Baal originally, as we talked about with Methuselah, with Abraham, right, and the tithe, like Baal was originally the Most High. That was the way that they said Elohim. It was Baal or Baal, right? But then over time they twisted it, just like people have twisted the word. But you want to say that you want to worship, so people will say, well, if you say God, you're saying the devil. No, like you're saying God is a different deity than Baal. Baal was a deity originally, and we have all types of scripts, hundreds of thousands of them, by the way, to be able to look at and say Baal originally they gave him, but they knew him as that his authority was. Matter of fact, they might not even know his authority was Yahweh. Let me back off that. But they knew that Baal was equivalent to Elohim, and they worshipped him. That's why, not Methuselah. I said Methuselah. Melchizedek. That's why he was able to receive the tithe, because Melchizedek was worshipped. The one true Baal, who true Elohim, and so that's why Abraham could tithe to him, because just because Abraham was worshiping the one true Elohim doesn't mean no one else on the planet did. We have this weird concept in our mind because we took somebody else's culture. That's not truthful. 7 books were delivered to 7 nations as families to attest to the Father's ground rules. Yeah, so you see this in all different types of cultures, but people don't want to be disciplined. So they'll take it and do whatever you want. Like people talk about, oh yeah, Buddha is God, or Buddha is somebody that can chant, right? But it's like, well, Buddha himself said that he didn't come to teach you about God. So how is he God? But then at the same time, people say, well, we follow the Heart Sutra. Or no, we follow the Lotus Sutra. That's the one I'm looking for, right? And they'll say, well, God doesn't matter. Well, in chapter 1 of the literally says that Buddha starts off chanting. That all these gods and deities that are known are chanting, and they're doing this great stuff, and they're doing amazing things. Then Buddha sits down and he chants for just a little bit, and in his tiny bit of time, he does more than all these gods combined. Now, Buddha is not God, right? It's being formulated in that sutra, and by the way, the Buddha didn't write that sutra either. Quiet is kept. Right, but people don't want to be disciplined, so you bring that out to somebody. They say, well, Buddhism's not about God. Well, do you follow the Heart Sutra? Well, yeah, the Lotus Sutra. Well, yeah, we follow the Lotus Sutra. Well, in the Lotus Sutra, Buddha's doing some interesting things in chapter 1. And if you follow like other teachers, like there's other groups, like in America, they have this thing called SGI USA, Soka Gakkai. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And they do Soka Gakkai. Teachings and things of that nature, and when they do that, they try to do this thing of basically saying like only chapter 2. Think about this. They got a whole sutra, I think, and it's got like 25 chapters. Then they say something like chapter 2 and chapter 22 or something like that are like the only ones that matter. Well, if that's the only one that matters, right? Then the sutra that you say is supposed to be great, you're saying that you only are focusing on a couple things and you made a whole religion out of it. Right? Doesn't make sense. But people don't want to be disciplined. People want to get away with whatever they want. And then when you call them out on certain things, they want to show frustration, or they want to say, oh, you're a terrible person. You're not this, you're not that. No, I'm asking you according to your belief system. Right? I'm trying to get, because I don't want to be about something and not be sure. If we're undisciplined, then be sure and focused. And this is the reason why many of us are in the position that we're in. There's a reason why you're seeing all these churches in the frightful situations that they're in, right? They might be making a bunch of money, but people ain't getting better, and pastors are out here sleeping with other people's wives, or sleeping with people outside their own wives, which is the problem. Forget the other people's wives, even though that's an issue too, But you got Ravi Zacharias, who's, I still love all of his teachings that's out there in his books and everything, and all these people came out once he died talking about he did this and he was sexually deviant and blah blah and this and that was kind of like, whoa, okay, but none of y'all said anything the whole time he was alive. Now when you have a chance to be able to divide up what he's trying to leave behind for his family and his community, now all of a sudden he was a sexual deviant. Even if he was, why did you not care to say anything before? Right? And people who walked with him still are out there doing apologetics, still going to his school and teaching at his school and still making money. Kicked his wife and out of their home because the home belonged to the college or the university that he created. Right? I mean, this this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with unsure times, man. People are all over the place. Hey, shalom, chill pill. We all have different options of faith in whom we serve. Yeah, I mean, everybody has the right to do whatever. Understand, you sovereign. You can serve a penny. You can serve Abraham Lincoln on a penny if you want. And interestingly enough, there probably has been somebody to do something like that. Heck, there was a guy, it was all over social media for a while, right? Still is somewhat, where there was a guy that was praying to Donald Trump when the police came for him. Talking about Donald Trump, save me. I mean, like there's all types of stuff. People want to be undisciplined and unsure. And these unsure times, cling on to what is sure. I don't even know if I can say it any better than what I've said. I don't even know if we need to go on. Matter of fact, it's about that time to wrap it up. But cling on to what is sure. To be of surety the path you choose, my odd pathway, or my odd pathway that extends higher place in the afterlife. Yeah, Yah is sure. The kingdom is sure. Yahshua is sure. The Akakodesh is sure. So sure that even though people keep trying to argue their existence, they'll talk about that more than anything else. Right? But hang on to those things. The topic was basically hang on to those things that are sure in unsure times. I don't even know. We're talking through some stuff today. That being said, though, I'm going to take my leave. I appreciate you all. Just wanted to come on and say hello. As usual, remember, Thursday night's right around the corner. I didn't get a chance. I tried to do a little bit of it, but it's still not published yet on the screen. We do have changes that will be on the website. Prayerfully, they'll be done tonight. I appreciate you guys looking and looking and looking. Don't forget, all day Friday, or all evening Friday from 5 to 9, all day Saturday from 8 to 12, and then from 4 to 9, and then all morning Sunday from 8 to 12. We'll be on Zoom, and correctly. So we appreciate you. We honor you. We're thankful. We're grateful for you. Look for us for the Zoom link if you would like. Just before then, I appreciate you all. Continue to pray for my family as they're on their safe traveling and journeys. It actually looks like they're going to extend their journey and travel to some other places. So just keep them in prayer. We look forward to being in front of you all. We'll be back on 8 a.m. Eastern, New York time tomorrow. I will try my best. Those of you who were supposed to make sure that we have some phone calls, we're going to try and make sure we get those in before Friday, because basically come Friday up until Monday, I'm going to be outside of our being on Zoom and our lives in the mornings. I'm pretty much going to be incognito. So feel free to join us. We're thankful. We're grateful. Thank you for being with us. We respect the king and queen in each and every one of you. Even if you're not living inside that kingdom or queendom yet, we appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. Do not forget also that we're asking those of you who can to fast with us from 6 o'clock p.m. Wednesday all the way through 6 o'clock p.m. Thursday for the Day of Atonement. And we're thankful and grateful in advance for you guys doing that with us. So thank you. We appreciate you. We honor you once again. And as always, this has been Pastor Kofi, aka the Shadow Band One, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken, until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, we shall be the reason this world changes for the better, bare minimum, will be the reason why people who are in this system